Hello students, welcome to Information and Technology. Today in this topic we will see the operating system and its functions. So what basically the operating system is and what are the basic functions of the operating system will be covered in this particular topic. So let's move forward to see what is the operating system. So what is an operating system and why is it required? The basic requirement of an operating system is to communicate between the hardware and the user. So, what is the operating system? The normal definition of the operating system is that it is an interface between the user and the hardware of the system. Why we call it as an interface? We call it as an interface because we cannot understand the computer's language as well as the computer cannot understand our language. We use the high level language and computer knows only the binary codes, which is the low level language. So it has to be converted from high to low as well as low to high. So that's why the major role of the operating system comes here. It acts as the interface between us and the computer system. It also, you can say, it acts as the government which lays down various policies so that the resources are utilized properly in the computer system. Resources here can stand for the processor, the hardware and the software, that when the hardware should be activated, till how much time that process should be given to be processed. Everything is decided by the operating system. There are various examples of operating system such as the Windows, the Linux, Unix, DOS, Solaris, Macintosh. All these are the examples of operating system. So what the operating system is, it is the interface between the user and the hardware of the computer system. You can see here in this particular diagram the operating system. As you can see, it is the interface that helps the user in communicating with the hardware, okay, as well as the hardware knows what the user want to do. Actually, the user is the at the topmost level and the hardware it is at the bottom level. So the user, it communicates with the software, then the software goes to the operating system where it understands, or where it has to be converted, the language has to be converted so that which hardware has to be used, that will be understood by the computers, and then the hardware gives the output and which is displayed on the software, and the user comes to know what actually the result is. So this is the basic functioning, how the operating system basically functions. You can call it as a basic block diagram of the operating system also. Now let's see the functions of the operating system. So what are the basic functions of the operating system? So as I already told you that the basic function is the communication between the user and the hardware. Okay, so the user cannot understand the computer's language and the computer cannot understand the high level language, so we require a communication channel in between. So the operating system is the channel that helps us to communicate between the computer as well as the user. The next thing is the resource management. By resource we mean that the hardware, the processor, all these things are the resources. Now in this particular category there are three managements: the process management, file management, and the memory management. Now let's see all these three in brief. Before that, let us see this diagram. You can see what are the basic tasks of the operating system. So you can see there is a computer, operating system is there inside the computer, and what is the function? file management is there, then memory management is there, then communication, and the final process management. So these are the basic functions of the operating system. Coming to the communication management, so it manages the communication, that is the need of the system, be it communicating with peripheral devices or the other devices such as a printer, mouse. Now how it helps in communication is that it has got some programs which are called as drivers, that is the device drivers, that helps in recognition that which particular hardware has been connected to the system. For example, when we connect a mouse to the computer system, you can see at the bottom left corner the drivers being getting installed. So these are the programs that helps in communicating or telling the processor that a mouse has been attached to the computer. Okay, similarly, whenever other devices are getting connected, the device drivers get installed by its own to the using the operating system. Thus it helps in the communication. Now coming to the resource management. The working of the computer system is predominantly dependent on how its resources are managed. Okay, so what are the resources? That the resources can be the memory, okay, then the CPU time, the files, the secondary storage. So how much time will be given for a particular operation to function? The operating system handles the allocations of all these resources, that which is the primary thing that has to be done first. All these things have to be decided. Suppose there are n number of processes that have been given by the user, so all the process cannot be done at that particular instant. So whichever process has got the maximum priority will be done first, and then it's done, and then the second one gets a chance. So this is called as, also called as a queue. So the process are maintained in a queue, and the operating system decides which has got the maximum priority and which should be done first. So this is called as resource management. Process management is a program that's currently executing in the memory or waiting for CPU. Okay, this is similar to that the previous one, processes. As I have told, key there are a number of processes running in the system, so the process has to be scheduled. So the scheduling occurs in the operating system. Operating system schedules the processes, that which process should be executed first, and then when the second process should be executed, likewise. So this is the process management which is done by the operating system. Then comes the memory management. So for a process to be executed, it has to be first, as we know, that it has to be loaded in the random access memory, the primary memory. So the memory management component of the operating system allocates the memory to the process in a dynamic manner, that is allocated on demand and released when it is not required. So whenever the suppose priority 1 process is there, so it requires to be executed now, so it will be loaded in the RAM and it will be executed. Now after execution, this has to be, the memory has to be released. So this releasing process is now done by the operating system. File management. Operating system takes care of all the files and folders, that is the directories on the computer's disk. So the basic tasks that the user needs to perform on the files are, what are the tasks that we perform on files? The creation of files, the renaming, deletion of the files and folders. So all the files stored in the computer system can be located through the file system. Basically there are two types of file system, FAT and NTFS, that is the file allocation table, and the new technology file system, that is NTFS. So this file management is also done by the operating system. It takes care of all these things. So these were the basic things that had to be taken care of by the operating system, and these are the functions of the operating system.